symbolized parks, shelters, but there's also something else you can see. You can see there's 2,885 of those selected. And if I right-click on that, I can go zoom to layer. And you can see pretty much, I'm going to turn off the attribute table, you can see pretty much that the layer of that's the whole size. And if I go back into map there, and I just go back into my bookmark of Gold Coast, I can zoom in. You can see now looking at this that my bookmark of Gold Coast, it actually was the whole Gold Coast, but I've minimized my ArcGIS Pro so I can fit in my video things, so it's now no longer. So if I wanted to make that, I could change that, I could. But attribute tables are probably the most important thing. So if I put in dog areas, you can see there it's come up with another horrible color. And if I right-click on it, I right-click a lot, you can see there's the standard things. If it's got a little asterisk like this, it means that you can't do it. If it doesn't have an asterisk, which is the old object ID, I can right-click on it and I can go delete. Doesn't really matter if I delete it. And you can see there's dog areas. And that's the description, that's comments, and that's just various type of thing. So if I wanted to symbolize that, for example, I can go right-click, symbology, and I can symbolize it by name, which is a unique value. And it hasn't added all, so I got to add in all other values. And it's not really symbolizing very well that way. So let's add all values, and you can see there. Now, if I symbolize it, let's say dog exercise area, we'll change. I've just double-clicked on it to do that. So there we go, apply. And I go back to gallery and no dogs allowed. Let's make it, we'll go, let's have a look here. You can make it all sorts of different colors. So if we put, say, for example, I don't know, let's change it. We'll pop him in there and we'll just do something that shows no dogs allowed. Something like, I mean, these have standard things, but sometimes I just use them because they're more obvious in some way. So I'm just scrolling down through all of those, which look a bit boring. What about a crosshatch? ArcGIS has millions of these, and you can add even more symbology, so I'm probably making you dizzy by looking at this. But let's put something that would sort of symbolize that you're not allowed any dogs, for example. So we'll put a crosshatch, okay? And we're going to go back into properties, and you can see there now that's there, and that's all other values. So that's just in case there's anything that's got no data. So I'm just going to remove that. It doesn't remove the data, but it does remove it from the symbology. And if I just, what you can do in this is say I don't want it to show parks, shelters anymore. I'll just untick it. And if you looked in there, you can see in the open space that's these parks are allowed dogs. These are dog exercise areas, and dogs are not allowed there. I've seen dogs there. And I'm just zooming in and out using the scroll thing on my mouse. So you can see there you can symbolize things like that. The first thing I always do when adding a new layer is right-click, look at the attribute table. All of ArcGIS is underpinned by tables, which are basically just like tables in Excel or any other thing, but it's database tables. And it's all database. So this is your key, your FID or your object ID or whatever, and the shape. And you can see there it says polygon. If I look at the park shelters, you can see the shape is a point. And if I popped in a linear feature, so let's pop in a linear feature, which I can find in transport in this. What about Gold Coast roads? We'll put in Gold Coast roads. And it's drawn them horribly pink. And there's lots and lots of them. And I look at that attribute table, and you will see it's called a polyline. Now, a polyline just means that it's combined. It's a combine of a number of different lines. And a lot of roads databases, and this is based on a state government data set, and it's called centerline. So if I click on this, let's just click on select. I click on this, you can see that's just that little line. And so there's lines in between intersections, and that's just that little line. And if I go in there, you can see now there's all my records, and there is selected records. And you can see that's called Santa Isabel Boulevard. But if I click on this one, it's also Santa Isabel Boulevard, and no doubt that is as well. And so is that. You see, it's comprised of what's called polyline, in other words, lots of lines.